Haven't we seen this before? I know I have, or at least a semblance of it, and I'm a firm believer in history will repeat itself. If it should, then I'd be able to tell you the future of this card. At least my perception of it. I would say in about a year's time, this card isn't going to be worth anything what it is now. Will it ever fall under $100? I doubt it. That much, I don't think so. But at this point, I think this card will definitely face a crash of some type at least. What are the chances in my opinion? I'd say 100%. And this card actually reminds me of a card that went through a very similar experience not too long ago, but I'll get into that later. Now, something I've talked about in another video is that Pikachu cards don't really maintain their hype or their value. And let's be real, this card's beautiful to an extent because it is just Pikachu terastalized on a patch of grass. I'm sure I'm not the only person that's acknowledged that, said that, made comments on that, but it's the truth. There are much better cards that are terastalized versions of what we see today. Something that I like to draw comparison to is how Charizards in certain sets are still ridiculously higher priced than some of the cards in their sets. But to me that doesn't make sense because of how many variations you can get the current terastalized Charizard. Be it promos, through Obsidian Flame Pools, Paldean Fates. There are so many variations of terastalized Charizard, but it still seems to retain some value because Charizard? And I can already sense it. Someone is typing in the comment section, but my Poncho Pikachu! Shut up! Alright, let's just let me finish, guys. I'm talking about Pikachus that you can pull from boosters currently, or have existed. Yes, limited edition Pikachus, promo Pikachus, whatever they are, those, I'm not counting those. Those are very different. Obviously, those maintain some level of hype and rarity because of promotional aspect. But please correct me if I'm wrong. The two most expensive Pikachus that you can pull right now, historically, are base set Pikachu, which requires conditions to be met because it's not just the base set. So if you open a base set booster pack right now and you get a Pikachu, it might not be the second most expensive Pikachu you can pull from a booster. It has to have red cheeks, not the cheeks that you think I'm talking about, and it has to be a first edition. So if you get one right now from a base set and it doesn't have those, too bad. It's not worth as much. It's still worth something, I'm sure it is. Definitely not as worth as the others, but there's still hope. There's still one more that you can pull. If you drop 25,000 for the box, at least, the booster itself is almost the same value as the card itself. So you might as well just buy the card at that rate, because why waste your potential chance to get that card when you could just outright buy it at this rate? The only other card in that set that's as expensive as it is a Gyarados card. Now, I know you can make an argument that, oh, you know, it's way worth more if it's PSA 10, but that's the requirement to make it worth more. It's got to be PSA 10. If it's not PSA 10, it's not worth the same value. In case anybody's just listening and not watching on the screen, which is fine. It's not like I put a ton of flashy stuff on the screen. It's just how I perceive it all. If you're gonna try and get that Pikachu, you might as well get this shiny Pikachu by buying it outright. Which brings me to my whole stance and point on this situation. Now, before anybody hates me on this and my opinion or my thoughts, hit that subscribe button, do me a favor, leave a comment, and like I mentioned earlier, if I said something wrong, correct me. I really don't mind. I'm learning like a lot of you are. So as I was saying, I genuinely believe that Pokemon Company will begin to print more of these standard sets that are happening right now. I've been hearing from a lot of different YouTubers, seeing from a lot of different places, that some of these other sets are pretty much no longer being printed. Will they be printed again? I don't know. But why would they continue to print Crown Zenith? Why are we going to continue to see base set being printed? Doubtful. So, because of that, I'm pretty sure that's going to free up some space, because I'm sure some of you are still seeing Crown Zenith out there. Is this a call to buy? That's on you. I'm not going to really tell you. I think that it's probably going to go up in price soon. But hey, that's not what I wanted to talk about today. Right now, we're in a position where a lot of people talk about 2021 and how this is pretty much a situation very similar to that. What did we see during that time? Buyouts, market manipulation, scalpers. Ooh, all savvy words that some YouTubers like to throw to hopefully get more views. But in reality, there is got to be some type of variation of all three. I'm not saying that all three are happening or that all three must be what's controlling the situation right now, but I'm sure they exist to some extent. I also just find it hard to believe that Pokemon Company would just leave money on the table. If they see people are buying their product like crazy, why wouldn't they just print more? It's printing money essentially at that rate. And the Pokemon Company is, well, a company. And they don't care about your collection. It's not to say that that makes them a bad company, but it's real. They are in the business of making profit, as most people are, is that people are in this business to make money, and Pokemon Company is no different. They are just, you know, the people that we have to work around. If anybody, they're everybody's supplier at that rate. So what? And in 2027, we're going to be talking about the same thing? I can't tell you. But there are certain things right now in this world or this cycle that could make it essentially happen again. People lose interest. People get pushed out. People get priced out. I cannot tell you, I've talked about it before, how many times I saw people join in on the 151 hype, buy up a bunch of stuff, and then sell their folders, their binders, whatever off because they did not do good because they bought up hype and they lost out. Hell, some people might shift their focus back to Japanese product, which again, I have a website for that, you know, come check me out, guys. I could really use the help. And sometimes other games just prop up and take attention away from it. Like last year, I remember product was getting so hard to find that a lot of people shifted over to a different card game called One Piece. Which brings me to my last point. I know of a card that went down a very similar road not too long ago. Not the ones you're thinking of. Not that one. Anybody remember Gear 5 Luffy from OP05? If you don't, here's a price chart. This card was rare, incredibly rare. Product was being scalped left and right, and market manipulation was all over the place. It was bad, and there was no argument that there was some variation of all of it happening. Yeah, even though it was so bad, what happened to it now? People have moved on. It's at still a rare price. It's still at a very expensive price, but it doesn't have the same level of hype, the same level of attention. It's no longer that 5,000-6,000 card that it was ungraded. Now it's what it probably should be worth because people have moved on and scalpers move on to the next thing. It's still ridiculously expensive, but people moved on. And when it comes to Surging Sparks, people will too. Eventually, people will move on. Do you not see all the talk around Prismatic Evolution and Terra Festival? Because I do. I know if this next Umbreon is the next big thing, people aren't going to be talking about this Pikachu as much. Do you see people talking about Greninja right now as much? No. Everybody's talking about Pikachu. This is always the case. And watch when the singles, the alt-art singles that Alex from Nostalgianomics is always talking about blow up. That's going to be the next talk too. The hype, the rarity, none of that matters in a couple sets time when people move on. But I just think that I've seen this song and dance before, and I'm glad that so many other YouTubers are talking about other things like market manipulation that can probably talk about it better than I do. I know that I just saw a video about it yesterday. I forgot what she titled it, but I'll prop it on the screen. I totally recommend it. She kind of gives her perspective on it really fast. It was a nice video. But I just wanted to talk about more so how I've seen this song and dance before and the history behind it. So anyways, hope you guys like this video. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'll talk to you later. Love you, bye. Love you.